Okay, apologies for the delay starting there. There was a bit of a tech issue with the camera not actually working properly, which can be fixed. And there's one or two ways I could have fixed it. Lucky the first one worked, and it was just I just had to run an update on the camera software because obviously it's green screen thing, so it's a little it has to go through like the software and bits and pieces like that. But it's working fine now. It was easy enough to fix. I just had to do the whole proverbial log in, do the update, restart the machine. Gosh, it was sorted. Easy enough done. Very easy. Right. So that's basically why we started a little bit later than normal. Obviously, if you're watching this on the VOD or YouTube, it doesn't really matter. But for anybody who is watching this on the live stream, that's why. Okay, so first things first, we'll get the usual preamble out the way. There's no audio or video being shown from what we're watching tonight, and this is basically the only way I found to get around the copyright issue without restarting the watch party stuff, which I really want them to bring back, but we have below us the synchronized timer that, as it shows there, it will start when we start watching the film or the episode, and then it will stop and then reset. Basically, so now if you need to go to the bathroom, let the cat out or whatever, or you're just watching this a little bit later and you want to skip forward to a part later that you really want to see, you can sync it up, and we're generally within like a second or two, so it doesn't really matter. Right. Once that's done, we then do a 5-second lead in, basically 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, and I'll start that timer, and we go and we watch, and then we chat about it and whatever. I personally have a rule in this when I'm watching it, even if it's a film I have seen before, that generally speaking, I act like I haven't seen it before. And by that, I don't mean like, oh, I've never seen this film before. More like a case of, oh, you're going to love this next bit. So-and-so's going to happen. I think that, no. We don't do spoilers. The only time I will spoil something is if I know it could be potentially, like, say, upsetting, or there's like flashing lights or anything that could cause issues. But even then, I will try and keep it reasonably vague. Like, this scene coming up is going to have some nastiness in it. Just because I know that some people can be, it can be upsetting. Like, I for example have a major phobia of anything going into like my head or specifically the eyes. It is the proverbial "I will run for the hill" type approach. So it's just more of a heads up rather than a spoiler thing. Even then, I won't even go into details. It'd just be like, yeah, if you're squeamish about that sort of thing. Okay, if it does get to a point when I do want to talk about something that is a spoiler, I will put the spoiler warning up, which is because my camera's flipped, so it's always a bit difficult for me. There you go. It's pretty obvious. And whilst that's on, you probably either want to either hide the chat or mute it or anything like that, just because it means we're talking about something that is a spoiler. Generally, that isn't going to be relevant for most films, because I do try and keep it vague. But if we're watching a show or an episode again, or if it's like a two-part, it'll be like, right, something's coming up that's going to be important. And now, the kind of the reason why I brought that up is, well, it's Groundhog Day. And this is what we're going to be watching tonight. And this is a film that, I asked this on Blue Sky, and some people would think this is a time travel film, but it also kind of isn't. Now, I'm just going to read out the blurby bit, because this is the sort of thing that will come up in the trailers. If it comes up in the trailer, I don't consider it a spoiler. Bill Murray, yes, that Bill Murray, is at his wisecracking best in this righteous comedy about a weatherman caught in a personal time warp on the worst day of his life. Yeah. Now, this is in some ways, even though this is a fantasy, this is kind of, the tags on here are fantasy, romance, and outlandish. And it does kind of have a little bit of romance in it, but it's not ridiculous. It is in many ways quite sweet, but it does also have some one of those moments that I feel that when you think about it, it's actually pretty dark. about some of the things that happen. There is also one of my favourite episodes of Stargate called Window of Opportunity, is basically a homage to this film. And if you've ever seen Stargate, you will know the episode I'm talking about, because it is just absolute Stargate perfection. What they do is just, I'm not going to spoil it, but if you are a fan of Stargate or you haven't watched it, I can't remember what season it's in. I think it's sort of, it may be season 3 or 4. I can't remember the exact episode now. But the episode is called Window of Opportunity. And sorry, I've got fucking cat hair stuck in my eye because she's shedding again. Of course, saying it. Oh yes, if you have seen it, it is one of those episodes that is just absolutely brilliant. Stargate, how they handle it, what causes it. The sort of things you expect to happen happens in it, and it all kind of ties in. Not just ties in, but it is. The writers, I believe, did say that they got the idea for that episode, obviously with the Stargate influence, from this film, Groundhog Day. Now, if I remember correctly, there is a tradition in the town, and it always says on here, Punxsutawney, where if I can't remember what day it is. I'm going to just check actually what day Groundhog Day is. What actually is the day? Sorry, excuse me. Where is it? It's in February, I know that. February the 2nd. So yeah, on February the 2nd, they bring out a groundhog, and it's one of those little cute traditions that some small towns have, where if the groundhog sees his shadow or something like that, it means the winter's going to be unpleasant. And obviously there's kind of some logic to that, in that if that particular day is sunny, then typically the winters are going to be bad. But if he doesn't see his shadow, i.e. the weather's not that great, it doesn't kind of explain it in here, but there is a logic to it, and you can kind of see where that tradition would come from. I mean, obviously, it's probably not that 100% accurate, but it's happened enough times that a tradition would form around it. And that's where this character comes in, old Phil Connors. Now, there is one thing I've always wondered, and feel free to comment any time, either in the chat or in the comments if you're watching this in the VOD. If you were stuck in the same day, in basically a loop, now you cannot die. Whatever happens in that day happens. You're the only one who remembers it. It repeats. So what happens? It repeats and it repeats, and it's this exactly the same day. And that's basically what this film's about. Now, one thing and again, it is kind of also I'm going to spoiler warning. See, spoiler warning, because this is one of those sort of films I do like to chat about, because it's the implications behind it, but they don't actually. I'm trying to think how to phrase this. It's never explained. It just happens. And honestly, I like it because it's not explained. You can fill in the blanks, whatever it is yourself that you want to do. Right. Okay, so no spoiler. We are out of spoiler territory. Okay, so just to give an idea, this is rated as 4.7 out of 5 stars. And on IMDb, this is rated an 8. Yeah, that's pretty high for a sci-fi. I mean, I would argue this is no, it isn't really a sci-fi film, is it? Because there's no real science in it. It just happens. So yeah, I can see why they come by the fantasy side of it. And some of the stuff he gets up to, yes, is outlandish. But yeah, I wouldn't call this a sci-fi film. I mean, it may have a sci-fi concept, but it won't. I would not call it a sci-fi film. All right. So just a quick sort of other stars there in this. You have Bill Murray, Richard Hensel, Andy McDowell, Rob Riley, Chris Elliott, and Stephen Tobolowsky. those are names you probably may not recognise, apart from a couple, but you will recognise their faces with a very high setting. Content advisory, it does say flashing images. Now, here's an interesting fact that some of you may or may not recognise. This film was produced and directed by Harold Ramis, or Rami, how it's pronounced. You may not recognise the name, but let's just say he's worked with Bill Murray before. You would probably know him as Egon Spengler from the Ghostbusters. Yeah. Ramis. Oh, it's Ramis. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's one of the ones I see it and I know it's, but yeah, there you go. It's been put in chat how you probably pronounce it. Harold Ramis. There you go. But yeah, he is. He plays Egon Spengler in the original Ghostbuster films, which is quite interesting. So we have two alumni from that universe, and again, this is one of those sort of films that I'm glad they haven't made a sequel for, because it's a if you'll pardon the slight pun, this is kind of a self-contained story. It doesn't need a sequel. It doesn't. I mean, I could maybe, I'm talking like a very, very tiny, approaching the plank length, maybe, have a remake, but it would have to have that same charm, that same lightheartedness. You couldn't make. Alternately, the other way to do it is either keep the same charm, the same sort of, whimsical nature of it. Alternately, go horror. Like, I'm talking like full-on horror film. Now, if they did a version of it like that I think could work, because it would play up the potentially unpleasantness of it. But that, I think, would be the only way I would accept a remake, is if they go, right, we're taking the concept, but we're not trying to remake the film. That I think could work. Okay, so as I said before, we're going to do get yourselves ready. We're going to do a 5-second lead in, and we'll start with the thing. I'm going to just adjust the light a second. Yeah. Oh, there you go, slightly better. So yeah, 5-second lead in. Now here's an interesting fact. There are two. Again, this might be a spoiler, but it might not. But it's trapped in a time loop. So there are two calculations for there are several calculations for how long he spends in this time loop from a objective outside of his point of view. Based on what you see in the film, it's about 12 years. Excuse me. Another website claims that it is just under 34 years. There was, I believe, a story that one of the directors or producers and stuff like that has turned around and said that in the original script, it was going to be about 10,000 years he was trapped in this loop. Now, I don't know if that's true, but that, I think, would be freaking terrifying. Right. Obviously, he remembers each loop as he goes around. Right. Okay. So, again, 5-second lead in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So this is an older film, obviously. And yes, there are flashing images. And you can tell by the interest green, it is a little bit older film, but it is a good film. If you'll pardon it, this is a sort of, I would say this is one of the sort of almost, yeah, there you go, see? Harold Ramis. Bill Murray. Andrew McDowell. Yes, the daughter of Malcolm McDowell. Groundhog Day. Now, obviously, I have, you know, as a bit of transparency, I have seen this film several times before. I gotta say, Bill Murray is great at playing characters who are basically a-holes. Oh, he's also in another one of my favourite films, Scrooged, which is one of those films I try to watch at least one every year at Christmas. Yeah, Yeldy blue screen. But yes, he's good at playing characters who are. There we go. So yeah, there is some logic to it. It generally means like if the weather is a certain way on this day, there's a pretty good chance that for the next 6 weeks the weather's going to be shitty. If it's a different way, it's going to be reasonably decent. And he's gone. Yes. But if you think about it, this is the second film that I've watched with him in where he plays a character who starts the film as a bit of a unpleasant person. Yeah, it doesn't work because you're wearing a blue jumper or jacket. Yeah, Scrooged and this one are probably some of my favourite films. Just be when this actually comes out. Wow, it is a bit. 1993. So that's 32 years ago. Oh god. Based on what I said earlier about how long he gets stuck in the time loop, that's almost the same time. From his point of view, if we go by the 30 odd years, he would have. Wow. Yeah, he would have been coming out of, from his point of view, the time loop for the last. Now. That's beautiful countryside, you can't deny that. And that's more cranberry juice as normal. That's some good cranberry juice. Okay, now here's a little pop quiz. This is the second film that Bill Murray has been in which involved a rodent-like creature. What's the first? There you go. Put your thinking caps on. What's the first film that he was in that involved a rodent-like creature? Punxsutawney. What a great name. Adjust the camera 1 second. Ugh. I apologise, the camera's going to go a bit wibbly. Bear with me. No. Oh, there you go. Caddyshack, correct. Give yourself a pat on the back. Yes, it is Caddyshack. Sorry, camera's got a bit weird again. There we go. Yes, Caddyshack. An absolutely wild film. When he goes completely, he blows up the what's it? The GoFos on it with C4. Yes, the talent. A classic of the corner shop. Yeah, Caddyshack is definitely a product of its time. I would. It is. What's the one I'm looking for? It is a good film, but it's definitely a product of its time. Let's just be honest. I'd say, by that I mean some of the humour in it is a bit, as the kids say, a bit sus. Ah, it begins. Yeah, I believe there was like a sort of cut or something where they wanted to apparently, and again, this is all speculation because this is like pre-internet, so it can't really be confirmed or anything like that. But there was a rumor that they were gonna try and have a sequel where they would explain what was going on, what causes the time loop and things like that. But pretty much everybody involved, apart from the executives who suggested it, and it's always those executives, went no, don't. One of the reasons why it has its charm and that is that because there's no explanation for it. It's yep, he beat me to it. Yep. Ah, so just okay. That breakfast buffet doesn't actually look too bad. Toast. Looks like some cold meats. No coffee. He's being such a what's the word I'm looking for? Asshole. Sarcastic asshole. At least they've got some coffee. Yeah, he's just here for the event. As I say, there's going to be a few people in this you will probably recognise the face of if you don't remember the names. He's far too energetic for this time in the morning. I'm not a great fan of people like that. I don't hate them, I'm just not a fan. So. There you go. So check the camera. Ugh. Farts. Insurance. I mean, fair play. Uh, dude's a bit obsessed with insurance. He's not. I've just seen that sign, and I'm not going to comment on it apart from what I just said. Yes, I'm immature. So if we drove up to a town like that, I'd be like, I would be like, look, just give me 5 minutes to get it out of my system, and I'll be fine. I wouldn't mind visiting there, but I would have to have at least 5 minutes just get it out of my system. I don't know if I could live in a place like that, but you know what? I get why people do. Not for me though. Yeah, we're the capital of the world. Excuse me. Yeah. As I say, you can understand how a tradition like that would start off. I mean, that's in some ways that's how a lot of traditions do start. There is a, should we say, logical reason for them. You know, whether or not that's actually the truth doesn't really matter. As long as no one's really hurt by it, who cares? If it's an excuse to have a party, humans are going to do it. Yeah, the hmm. So, yeah, it reminds of say thing happened in what's it, '87 over here in the UK. A very prominent weatherman, Michael Fish, I believe it was, predicted and went on national TV saying Don't worry. I've been getting calls that we're going to have a large storm heading this way. Don't worry about it. It's not going to hit us. That night we had one of the biggest storms the UK has ever had. Yeah. It's as if whoever was in charge of the weather just went, challenge accepted. Back to the place he doesn't really like, or freezing his giblets off. No, but it is cold in space. A very minor celebrity. So, everything tastes like chicken. Hmm. Yeah. Hustler, for those who don't know, is basically a grot mag. That's either really, really hot or really, really cold. Why wouldn't there be a hot water? But I'm trying. Yeah, the way he starts off is like, okay, fair enough. Yeah. Like, nah. I mean, it could be a pre-recorded. So, where's all the snow? The snow. Like, it begins. See, no, the first time you think, yeah, I probably slept while the brain fog's kicking in. But then, at what point would you have to accept that you're living the same day over and over again? Now, I like as well how they handle the what's it called? Not choreography, continuity. So like obviously if an NPC, if a background artist walks past the camera in the first loop, they've got to walk past it again from that point of view again. So like the background artist, the homeless dude, they would have to keep doing that every time. Yeah, the John Candy looking guy in the background. Yeah, his brain's starting to go, what the flip? The look of like, now obviously, there may be like minor differences here and there, but essentially, I imagine it'd just be like, right, you stood here, you waved your thing about, remember that, because that's what you're going to do next time. No, yeah, get get the um get the presentation done. Because how much of it? Why would they have? Yeah, yeah. You sound like you're losing it, Phil. As the clock says 4:04. I mean, that's actually not a bad idea. Something minor that you can check on. Once again, I appreciate there's very little faffing around in this. Yeah, this is when your brain starts to break. The realization starts to kick in. See, there's the homeless guy. Yep, the lady coming out of the shop. The Bill Candy guy, looking guy in the background, giving money to the homeless fella. Obviously, they wouldn't have to do this for every single day, but just enough where they to let you know that it is, have distinctive looking characters that you can remember easily. Yeah, just keep the coffee coming. Of course you are, Phil. Of course, yes. Because remember, yeah, from everybody else's point of view, he just, yeah. But so he managed to get a, or still, I suppose, Oh, there you go. Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, there's no way he would have got a CAT scan or an MRI that quickly. And there's the director. Yep. Yes. It's very, very weird because whenever I've seen Harold in the stuff before, he's always had his glasses on. And I always think of him as Egon. So his hair's like a little bit more, shall we say, what's the word? Up. Yeah. The body has a head. Oh, it's been a long time since I've done bowling. Yeah. See, I'll look at it and be half my beer's gone. Damn. That's depressing. Oh. Oh, and they've been drinking. Oh, no, boys, you do not go driving after a drink. You don't do that. Yeah, see, See, the problem is you've both been drinking. Yeah, you've both been drinking, so you're both no, no. Oh, this is honest. Yeah. Oh, and he's driving in reverse as well. No, no, neither of you should be driving. And no seatbelts either. Oh, there you go. I stand corrected. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any place that's open that time of night. And now he fought. Yeah, but let's be honest. What would you do if there was no tomorrows, no consequences? Um, yeah, and suddenly they both become very, very sober. Yeah. Even the police are like, oh, oops. Yeah, and that's a big American freight train. Yeah, those things are heavy. Yeah, he's suddenly very sober and possibly pooed himself. How do you? Yep, the sarcasm. Boom. There we go. So he's at the, how can I put it? The stage where he's like thinking he can do whatever he wants and it's all going to be good. Yeah, that's how the best curses work. They make you think it's all nice and good and jolly to begin with, and then the downsides start to creep in little by little, day by day. Her brain is now short circuited. There's the lady with the phone, there's the homeless dude. Like I say, pay attention to the background as well. See? There's the lady walking out there, I think. The John Candy looking fella. Oh, oh. Ah, so that's what it's like. Whoa. I mean, fair play to the fella. You could eat what you want and not have to worry about the side effects. God, look at those pancakes. Oh, I will say, proper American style pancakes are frigging great. Especially with like maple syrup on them as well. That's one thing I did like when I went to Vegas was having the pancake breakfast. I had that most mornings. It was so good. I put on weight. Oh, freaking hellfire. That's impressive. Also disgusting. Yeah, that was pretty impressive. It's like, oh. I probably would end up choking. Yes. Seriously, that I said that was it. The bacon and eggs, pancakes, donuts. That's cakey just shoved in his mouth. It looks like a chocolate mousse. Probably pudding. What would they call it? She looks familiar. Who's that? No, I thought it was Leah Thompson. It's not. No. What the? Yeah, this is where he starts to be really unethical. I mean, it's one thing to. I mean, obviously he punched the guy out earlier, but I think this is really crossing the ethical line. Now, let's be fair. I would probably would do the whole breakfast like he did. I won't deny that. But this is, yeah, this is a dick move. But that's kind of the point, is to show what kind of character Phil is. He's a bit of a so I'm just checking on the cat. Ah, yeah, he uses the information because you don't really know how, apart from the first few days, how long these loops have been going on. Like, has he been doing this all week? From his point of view, each time getting more information just so he can be a naughty boy. Yeah, he's been a manipulative SOB. Yeah, it's like, yeah, yeah. So obviously he's done this quite a few times by this point. So how? I'm trying to remember how like. I mean, that is just that's have to have happened quite a few times for him to have been able to memorize that and then go to the dealership and pay for it in cash. Is that Nancy in there? Yeah, that's Nancy in there as well. Like, what the hell's going on there? Wow, that's Oh no, it's not Nancy. It's a different person. Yeah, damn. He's basically yeah. It's. I mean, on the one hand, I can kind of understand it, but at the same time, yeah, the guy's a dick. That would be one. Excuse me. Normal people. Hmm. Mm, donut. I imagine they're reasonably fresh donuts as well. So I mean, hmm. Two, dude's got a bit of an ego. I could do with losing a few pounds here and there. I don't deny. No, I mean, one heck of a list she's got there. But hey, you like what you like. Hmm. Sorry, the parakeets are going a bit absolutely over the top outside, and the cat is sitting on the windowsill staring at them. I'm trying to keep an eye on her to make sure she doesn't go a bit trying to climb out the window. Ah, she's right. again. So they have the same scene. Mm. He's such a manipulative. I mean, obviously we as the audience know what he's doing, but from like their point of view, it's like he's just like suddenly changing. Like the day before he was an asshole, then now he's not, or he's hmm. So, how many times has he been done this particular bit? But you don't know. It's kept vague deliberately. Put yourself. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so anytime he gets anything right, you can probably guess he's done it 2 or 3 times beforehand. Now that's how beer should be served in a proper glass. And chilled. Not really cold, just, chilled. I'm glad I don't drink beer that often, but. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry, just something flashed up on OBS now. It was just uh, just a little glitch. Yeah, and again, all the background artists and stuff like that, the extras have to do the same thing. Like she's going to touch him on the shoulder, she walks off. See, there you go. Just little things like that that are easy to remember to do. It's like, wait, you go in, serve the drinks, touch the guy on the shoulder, walk off. Simple, easy to repeat. So you have to learn French and this bit of poetry. I will say there is something quite wholesome and fun about a snowball fight until some dingleberry decides to put a rock in the middle of it. But a pure snowball fight, yeah, just not in the face. Oh, dude's making his moves. Yeah, I can see why this film can be considered to be romantic. It does have that aspect to it. I mean, if it weren't for the fact he was being doing it for creepy self reasons, finding out about your partner and giving them a great day is a brilliant way to you know get stuck in a time loop. Yeah, snowball rules have to be adhered to or no fun. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just nothing in the face. Or, of course, in the unmentionables. But anywhere else, fair go. That's why you aim for the chest. And there are also other rules as well, like stay away from the yellow snow. I am such a child mentally. And yes, I did once get in trouble for when I was at school, because I was quite a small child for my age. We played a prank on our teacher where I was standing still and my friends put loads of snow around me, and basically we scared the crap out of our teacher by just like, Blur. That was hilarious, absolutely hilarious. I got in trouble for that. I think I was only about 8 at the time, but it was worth it. When I got in trouble, I got told off because my clothes were soaked, unfortunately, by being in the snow. Oh, dude, make these moves. Yeah, no, dude, she said no. Respect that decision. If she's... That's it. Yeah. Okay, that's an interesting place to what's the word? To store your ice cream. Keep it on the windowsill. Phil, no, she's saying no. I mean, yes, she's laughing, but she said no. There you go. See, that's the perfect. She's giving you the perfect opportunity to step away. Yeah, no fridge, no options. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, that was just a little bit too far. See, that's a well-deserved burn, though. And that slap was deserved. Yeah. This is quite an educational on how not to deal with people. Yes, and even my autistic ass knows that. Now, there was a fan hypothesis I read that somebody speculated that if he had respected her choice at the end of it to go like, no, we'll deal with this tomorrow, stuff like that, he would have broken the loop at that point. Because it's like, okay, we've had a good... Now, we've had a good day. We've, what's the, it would have been the end of a perfect day, and that would have broken it. But because he kept pushing and kept going a little bit too far, the loop continues. Like there's no God or anything else like that, but he's, as you can see, he's basically trying to recreate that first perfect day he spent with her, and he's effing it up. And this is the I would say the point for me when the curse is, or curse, the effect that whatever it is starting to, the negative effects are starting to build up. He's realizing that, yeah, he's still a dick. Because remember, this it's reset for everybody but him, and he can remember what's happened. Oh, that's so ominous. That is really freaking ominous. It's just a clock turning over. Yeah, now he's starting to realise he is trapped. It was like, damn! It's just, that is like, I have the fear. He's starting to become unravelled. No. He is in not a good mood. Remember, we don't see every time he loops. Yeah, he's definitely starting to lose it. So by this point, he's probably hit several months in this from his point of view. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Phil has just stolen Phil. I mean, talent is that. Oh, hello. Whoa. Obviously, by this point, he suspects probably that the groundhog is the reason. Yeah, yeah, he's hello. Hi. I've oh god, I forgot that there was that scene of the groundhog. I forgot about that. That's the expression on his face. It's just like, this is amazing. I'm driving. Oh, oh, this is not good. What are you doing? Hi. Yeah, that doesn't sound like somebody who's the stuffed puppet or the groundhog. I mean, understandable. I'm. No. It was a big boom, wasn't it? Yeah. I think the groundhog's no longer with us until now. Yeah, this is when the living hell begins. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah. Yeah. As I said at the beginning, there are some very dark elements in this film. What? I'm sorry. No, he didn't. Although that's yeah. I like how in the subtitles they've capitalized one god but not the other one. Yeah, best to give him some space. Yeah, yeah. Oh, not wrong that. Yeah, this is how you give a person an existential crisis. Yeah, yeah. This is how you give people an existential crisis. So how long has he been looping to get all this information and retain it as well? Because there was he messed up on some of those days. He's starting to become a little bit more humble. See, he's actually learning how to deal with people by being interested in them and learning about them. Yep. That's fair. Yeah, you'll be able to practice like magic tricks and skills. So that's at least 6 months. If we assume what he's saying is true, that's how long it took him to learn how to do it. So he's been in probably about a year or two by this point, from his point of view. Yeah, wisdom there. Like I, like I say, he almost got it right that first time he went on a date with her. Almost. I definitely subscribe to that hypothesis about if he hadn't have pushed it too far, he would have broken that loop on that night. Excuse me. You shouldn't. Sorry, What's the matter? Come on. Thank you. Yes, I love you too. Fuzzball. Yes, I know. You want hugs, don't you? Right, okay. You know what this means? You get all grumbly, you have to be shown on the camera. If I get the angle just right. You can't really see her, but you can just see her eyes. Oh. That shut you up, didn't it? Yeah, unfortunately, because it basically the black background, she matches the background, so she doesn't always show up properly. See, this is it. He doesn't try anything. He's actually being quite nice. I mean, yes, there's a sort of self-serving reason why he's doing this, but at the same time, you know, he's not being an asshole. He's just being how you should be, as a minimum. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I know. On my lap. Well, I'll pick you up and show you on camera again. Okay. See, you had a nice day. But it wasn't a perfect day. It was just a nice day. Okay. You're gonna watch Groundhog Day with me. What? I mean like that. Seriously, look. That's the. I just brushed her, and that's the hair that just came off. She is shedding again. So, I'll say for me, I think this is the beginning of his redemption, like, or the character improvement arc. Like, he's not quite there yet, but this is, yeah, this is where it begins for me, because he realised what he doesn't have. That's the whole proverb. You get up and go, right. Damn, that's a stack of cash he's giving him there. So, you know what? Dude's like, holy fudge, I can have a room and food for next week. Yeah, he actually starts to be a decent person after that. Like, again, he's got a lot of work to do, but like I say, the beginning of his redemption arc. Coffee and a Danish. Yeah, because he's. Mmm. Yeah. Like I say, he's actually started to be a decent person. He's just got a lot of, shall we say, deprogramming to do. You know, she's thinking, what the flip? obviously, you read a book once, you're probably not going to retain all the information. But if you're doing it again and again and again, and it's like the only book you read, that will start to stick. So obviously, he's probably at least in several years worth of loops by this point. It's like, you get the flip out. Like, harsh. I mean, $1,000 then is probably like about what, 10,000 now, sort of thing. See, he's put someone in a good mood. Her face is like, hmm. It's like, yeah, I twitch. So what is it? Is it something like 10,000 hours to really sort of or 1,000 hours? I can't remember the number. It's about something like that to master a particular subject and become an expert in it, give or take. Obviously, yeah. So people say like to learn how to play the piano to that kind of level would take at least a decade, maybe even more. I mean, technically, it is his first lesson. His first lesson that day. Make it awkward. See? That's how you deal with it. You don't be an asshole. Yep, he's the guy who gave him like quite a bit of cash at the beginning of the day. Now it start. Now it starts to really affect him. It's you can almost see the look on his face of like, no. Yeah, and that's not him like trying to think of anything else. That's him really thinking. It's like, I've got this ability. I'm going to do something freaking good with it. And if I can save that dude's life, yeah, that looks quite nice. Was that minestrone? Yep. Now, I kind of just like I understand his logic. He's like, if I can save this dude's life, Yeah. He's probably practiced this speech so much. Excuse me. So yeah, how many times has he practiced this speech? So, that's some good stuff right there. He's had time to practice. Yeah, he's got some. He's got some lives to save. Well, this one in particular. Hmm. So he's never thanked him. Again, how many times has he done that? No, 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 it's not an earthquake. Yeah, just happen to have the tire and the jack. This has got to take some serious planning, like figuring out like the routes, what it's going to do, you know, what he needs to get. But if he's trapped on an infinite loop, he can just keep replaying the level over and over again. He's basically got a quick save at the beginning of the day. Just walks in, saves a guy's life, offers a lady a light, walks out. Nobody knows who he was. Dude. That's just not. Wait, what? Yeah, no, dude, just get your hand off her. No. So, yeah. How many times has he looped to become that good of a piano player? That's probably like 20 years experience, assuming he only learnt once a day, maybe not every day, you know, maybe every other day or something. Yeah, that's definitely at least 20 years worth of experience right there. Like I say, some people believe it's like 30 years, but so think about it. Beginning of the day, he knows he's got to be at a certain point by a certain time, whilst doing everything else, still taking the lessons, doing whatever else. Nah, yeah. In Musicians Alone, doing's good. And he's suddenly become very, very popular. So from their point of view, this guy just turns up for the first time, whatever, goes around, does absolutely everything. Everybody gets to know him, and he turns up at the party, starts playing that music, and like the vast majority of these people in this town probably didn't even know who he was 24 hours ago, from their point of view. Probably play. I never noticed that before. Her face is just like, Ethel, calm yourself, dear. Lots of things. Saved quite a few lives. Rescued someone who was in trouble. Fixed a wedding. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, they're perfect for each other. Yep. Yeah, those two are definitely right for each other. It's like, fair enough, this is my back's well, right? Yeah, that's the thing. He would have had enough time to learn and practice how to become a doctor as well. So, yeah. How, he's got to. I mean, a proper doctor is going to take at least, what, 6 or 7 years? Assuming you do it. Mm, oh. Lady knows what she wants. Fair enough. Wow. The look on her face is like, bitch. That was a look of pure daggers right then. It's like, I'm going to kill you. uh, mm, no. Oh no, the look on it. Oh no. Wow. 25 cents. Oh no. Damn, that is a kick to the ego. I'm trying to remember. Would he have I'm trying to remember if this, would he have gambled to get some cash? Dang. See? And this is, the thing is, whereas before it was like him just like putting it on. This is now genuine. Him being a decent person. That is incredibly good. Also, years of practice. Okay, that is actually pretty a bit corny but sweet. And that for me is the point. That's where it breaks. It's just to finish off the day. But I think that attitude, him just genuinely believing it, thinking it, that for me is where the loop actually. And of course, it's going to snow. Of course, it is. There's symbolism there. See, doesn't force itself. It just gives a kiss. Just goes for a nice little walk with her. It is quite sort of no. And then here's that music. He had his perfect day. It's like, I've been doing this for years and years and years and decades, maybe even centuries. Yes. Something different is good. She's got a point. It's like, stay. No! It's February the 3rd. Now, I'll say, as a general rule, I don't hate romance films. They're just not my cup of tea. Now, I can understand that for some people they really like them, and that's fine. I don't hate them. I don't want them to be got rid of. They're just not for me. But this is the exception. this is probably the exception. Hello. Yes, like some people like sports films, some people like sci-fi films, some people like horror. Yeah, exactly. It's just like because it doesn't try to explain it. There's little faffing around. You can see that the guy, in this case Phil, genuinely tries to make a difference. He in effect gets punished for his actions on that first perfect day. And sometimes the movie surprises you. Yeah. I can remember watching this at the cinema because I remember when I went to go and see it thinking that this was going to be a time travel film. And I really freaking love time travel films and sci-fi and stuff like that in general. So you can imagine my surprise when I found out this is technically not a time travel film. But it kind of is. But I'm like, there was a part of my brain was thinking, oh great, this is a freaking romance film. But by the end, I was quite happily, in a sort of. I can remember walking out of the cinema in a surprisingly good mood because of it. See, and then just goes to the credits. Now, they don't try to over-explain it. They don't try to do anything. It's just literally the film is. Here we go. Here's a setup. This guy's a douchebag, and here it is. I think, yeah. But as I said at the beginning, this is not. I'm going to stop that right now. This is not something that I think could do with a remake or a sequel. The only way I would tolerate a remake as such would be if they used the exact same concept but made it into more like a horror film. Don't call it Groundhog Day, call it something else, and just basically just use the same concept of someone getting trapped in it and in a time loop. Maybe they bring the curse upon themselves by hurting someone or something like that. But as the same thing as a time loop, as a horror film, I don't think there's a film I've seen that actually has that. Possibly Cube 2 has something about time wibbleness in it, but I don't think it has like a time loop in it, but I could be wrong. Yeah, some movies are simply set moments in history and you can't go home again. Precisely, yeah. There's another one as well, and I think it's what is it? Robert Zemeckis, I think it is, who said that it's the Back to the Future trilogy, which is back on Prime again, and I'm very tempted to watch that again because it's one of my favourite film series of all time. But I think it's still within the limitation of a year because I think I did watch it last year, so I may not, by my own rules, I can't on this watch another film that I've seen within a year. But it is Back to the Future. Because they are three freaking good films. Actually, you know what? Let me just check something whilst I'm here. Let me just check. Oh, I know. Unfortunately, yeah. Number 3 is on rental. That's okay. That's fair enough. Right, I can't add that one. So right, next week is, like I say, a slight pause on the Fallout 4 playthrough because No Man's Sky, the expedition dropped yesterday, I think it was, and I did say I want to be playing that just for like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, nothing serious, because it is a reasonably short expedition. And for most people, you can get done in about 3 to 4 hours. Although because I'm playing it on stream as well, and obviously I'll be excuse me, I apologise. Talking through what I'm doing and swearing at things and bits and pieces. That it's probably going to take me about a couple of sessions to work through. Because obviously I'll be going through a guide that I've got, and then on the last day, the Thursday, depending upon how long it takes, it'll probably be finishing off the expedition. And then I will probably, depend upon how things go in that, I will see if I can access like the creative mode and see if I can build the Odyssey. Or at least the basic frame for it, and then I can use that as a groundwork. Now I accept that this is probably going to be tricky for me, especially in the last day, which is probably why I will dedicate just that last Thursday to doing it. And if I can get it working, take it out for flights, we'll be doing some testing, basic designs. But yeah, for the actual ship itself, my Corvette, I will probably be going into, like I say, the creative mode. Keep things honest, I'm going to be doing that, just so I can spend like a stream or so, maybe even depending on how long it takes, building this. And at the very least, it will just be the basic framework of the ship. And then anything I've got left over, once I'm happy with it and how it looks, then I will, put it back into regular mode and then just go from that. But like I said, there is an expedition, and it's really easy to set up by the looks of it. And I know, it's a forum in chat, you said there's a bonus objective that we can get, so I will probably be taking you up on that offer whenever it is available. But for now, that's me done for the night. Madam here is demanding my chair, her chair. So I'm going to say good night. Thanks everybody for joining me, and hope you have all a good weekend. Hope you all have a good weekend. Bye bye.